Welcome to LIVEDAF, your online Daf Yomi Shiur.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Shabbos Lamed Aleph, on the last line of Lamed Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Brayz, La'olam yehei adam ma'an v'san kehillel. A person should always seek to be an anav, humble, tolerant, accepting, like Hillel was. V'al yehi kapton k'shamai. He shouldn't be stern and unyielding like Shammai. Says Gemara, Maaseh b'shnei bnei Adam. There's a story regarding two people. Shehimru zeh zeh. They waged a bet between themselves. They made a deal. Amru, kol mi sheyelech v'yaknit es Hillel. Whoever will be successful in arousing Hillel's anger, instigating, provoking his anger, yitol dal me'azus. He will get 400 zuz. So whichever one of us will be successful, the other person will have to pay him 400 zuz. Amar echad mehem. So one of them volunteers. He says, you know what? Ani yaknitena. I will go ahead and provoke him. It was Erev Shabbos, just the right time. Hillel was in the middle of washing his hair. So he sees the right day and the right opportunity. So he passed by Hillel's home and he announced in a very disrespectful way, Amar Mikan Hillel, Mikan Hillel. Is Hillel here? Is Hillel here? So it was a very disrespectful way of relating to Hillel, who was the Nasi, the foremost leader of Klal Yisrael at that time. So when Hillel heard his voice, heard his name being called, he hastily wrapped himself and he went out the krasei to greet him. Amarle b'ni, ma'atam avakish, my son, what do you seek? What do you need? Amarle she'ela yesh lishal. I have a question to ask you. Amarle sha'al b'ni sha'al, my son, please ask. So he proceeded with his very profound question. Mipnei ma roshein shel bavlim segalgalos. Why are the heads of the people in Bavel unusually round? Amarle, so Hillel responded, B'ni, my son, she'ela gdoila sha'alta. You've asked a very important question. The answer is, B'pnei she'ein lohen chayos pikchos, because their midwives are not skillful enough, and therefore it results in their heads being formed in this manner. Okay, so he accepted the answer, and Hillel went back inside to wash himself. Holach v'himten sha'achas. So this fellow waited around another bit of time, and again he repeated the same thing. Chazav Amar, he announced, Mikan Hillel, Mikan Hillel. Does Hillel live here? Nesa'atav yotze the krosai. Hillel again wrapped himself and went towards him. Amarla, he told him, B'ni, my son, Matam avakish, what do you seek? Amarle sheil yesh li lishal, I have a question to ask of you. Amarle sha'al b'ni sha'al, my son, ask. So he proceeded with his question. B'pnei ma einehen, why are the eyes Shel Tarmudian, these people live in this desert there. Why are their eyes trutos, round? They don't have the sharp edges, the corners. Why are they shaped in such an unusually round way? Amarlai, so Hillel responded with patience. B'ni, my son, she'ela gdoila shalta. You've asked a very important question, and I'll tell you the answer. B'pnei, it's because shedarim ben achola is because they live between the sands. So Hashem fashioned their eyes in a manner which is suitable for their environment, so that the sand doesn't get caught in the creases in the corner of their eyes. So He fashioned their eyes round. Okay, he heard the answer, and Hillel went back inside. Holach v'himten sha'achas. He waited another bit of time to pass. Chazav, he repeated his thing again. Minkan Hillel, Minkan Hillel. Nes'atav yotze l'krosei. Once again, Hillel came out. Amalei, B'ni, my son, Matam avakish, what do you seek? Amalei, so the man says, She'el yesh lishal, I have a question to ask of you. Amalei, so Hillel said, Sha'al b'ni sha'al, ask my son, ask, I'm here to listen. So he proceeded with the third question, B'pnei ma ragleim, why are the feet, Shel Afrikim, of those who dwell in Africa, Rechaves, why are their feet wide? Amalei, B'ni, my son, She'el gdoila sha'alta, he asked a very important question. And the answer is as follows. Because they live amongst the swamps, Hashem formed the bottoms of their feet to be wide, so they can walk on top of the mud without sinking in. So the man saw that he wasn't getting anywhere. He wasn't successful in provoking his anger and getting irritated. Amalai, so he proceeded from another angle. He said, Sheilas Rabbi, Harba Yesh Lishal. I have a lot of questions. I'm afraid of you, of your irritation. I'm afraid of you getting angry. So he meant to provoke him in this manner. Hillel didn't respond with any irritation. Nis'atev, just on the contrary, he sat down and he cloaked himself, and he wrapped himself in his cloak and said, I'm here, I'm fully ears, I'm fully attentive, I'm ready to spend as much time as you need. Anything that's in your mind, please ask. So now the fellow saw he really wasn't getting too far. He said, Atuhu, Hillel, Nisi Yisrael, you're the one that they call the Nasi of Klal Yisrael. Yes. If that's you, if that's the case, there shouldn't be many more like you in Klal Yisrael. So Hillel was taken aback. B'nai, my son, on account of what do you express yourself in this manner? So the man said, why? Because on your account I lost 400 zuz, I lost my bet. I couldn't get you to lose your temper. Hillel said, take care over your ruach, over your disposition. Be careful. Don't lose your temper. That's more important. Kedayu Hillel. Hillel is worthy. They shall lose on his account 400 zuz, and 400 zuz, and Hillel should not lose his temper. So it's more important that Hillel should not lose his temper, not get angry. It's more important than losing your money. Now, why did he repeat the 400 zuz twice? He says, and then he said again, so the reason is because not only didn't he gain the 400 zuz, if he would have won the bet, he would have earned 400 zuz. Since he lost it, he needed to pay 400 zuz. So Hillel says it doesn't matter. Maintaining one's equanimity in all situations is more important than all this money. So this indeed is a true example of Hillel's anova, of his humility, because maintaining one's cool, being accepting, being tolerant is very much related with anava, with shiftless. When a person doesn't attribute self-importance to himself, he's an anav, he's humble, it's easier for him to accept and be tolerant of others. I heard a wonderful story of the Chavetz Chaim, that in his older years when he had remarried, so the first Yom Tov Sukkot came around and he went out to build a sukkah in the backyard where he had built it in the same location he had built it throughout his life. So he built it in a specific location in the backyard, and when he was done, so the new Rebbitzin came out, the second wife came out, and she took a look at the sukkah, and she says, Rabbi Yisrael Meir, I think it would have been better if you would have built it on the other side of the backyard. I just think it would have been better there. So Chavetz Chaim didn't lose his cool. He dismantled his sukkah and rebuilt it in the other corner. Okay, he was done. She came out to take a look, and she says, you know what? I think you were right. Rabbi Yisrael Meir, the first location was actually better. So he went ahead, dismantled the sukkah again, and rebuilt it. He didn't lose his temper. He didn't get irritated. He was an Anvason Kehillel. In fact, I heard a recent story of Rav Chaim Kanievsky in Eretz Yisrael, where a person who was childless, came to him for a bracha. And Rav Chaim Kanievsky told him, go find a person who is maver al midosav, who is tolerant and doesn't lose his cool in a difficult moment. So this person said, okay, I'll go find it. It shouldn't be such a big deal to find a person that's being berated and insulted, and he's maver midosav, and he's tolerant and accepting and doesn't lose his temper. Probably an easy thing to find. So he looked around. He could not find such a person. Very difficult to come by. Until one time he was sitting at a wedding, and he notices the following scene unfolding in front of his eyes. There's a person sitting there, a guest sitting there at the table, and suddenly a person enters the hall, approaches this guest, and begins insulting him, yelling at him. Apparently this person was his adversary. They were in the middle of a dinner of some sort, and he was insulting him in public, embarrassing him in public, and this person was just sitting there and tolerating, accepting it, being maver al midosav, not responding. And this person just kept on going and insulting him. And our friend, this person who was looking for the bracha, quickly approached the guest who was sitting there and tolerating all this insult, and he whispered to his ear, he says, please just keep on going, maintain your cool, just stay calm, don't respond, be mavram with deisecha. So the person had no idea why he was getting this piece of advice from this total stranger, but he endured, and he made it through successfully. He didn't respond to that person, and eventually this person just gave up and left. And this person went over to the guest and he said, I need a bracha from you. I need a bracha that I should have a child. I told him the whole story of Chaim Kanievsky, and that's why I really wanted you to maintain your cool and not to respond, so you fit the bill of a person who's mavram with doisav, who's tolerant and doesn't respond to insults. And indeed, he gave him a bracha, and indeed, he was zeicha to have a child. So the point of a person that's mavram with doisav, the Gemara says, is he's freed of all his averis. It is very high. He achieves a very high spiritual status when he tolerates and he's accepting and doesn't respond to insults and etc. So indeed, very important to try to follow through with this. It says when a person is in a moment of difficulty, when his tolerance is being tested by others, and he successfully is mavram midoisav, he maintains his equanimity. He doesn't let his anger be provoked and irritated. He achieves a very high spiritual state at that moment, and it says that he could even daven to Hashem because he's a tzaddik. He loses all his averis. The person meant to seize that opportunity when he's experiencing a difficult situation, and his patience is being tested. Seize the moment. Don't respond. Be mavram midoisecha. Be zeicha to this high madrega and daven to Hashem. Use that moment for tefillah, for anything you need. Okay, continues the Gemara in a similar vein regarding the expressions of Hillel's anava, of Hillel's humility and acceptance. Tana Rabbanan, we learned in a brayso. Ma'aseh b'nachar echad, the story of a non-Jew. Shebal lefnei Shammai. So he approached Shammai, and he said to him, Amar lei, kama Torahs yesh lechem? How many Torahs do you have? Amar lei shtaim, we have two. Torah shebechsav, and Torah shebal peh, the written and the oral. Amar lei, so the Nachri told Shammai, you know what? Shebechsav, ani mincha. That I believe, I trust that came from Hashem. The oral Torah was given from Hashem. However, the oral Torah, ani mincha. I don't believe that was given at Har Sinai. Okay, Gaireini almanas shetil medena Torah shebal peh. Why don't you convert me on condition that you teach me Torah shebechsav? I accept Torah shebechsav. Let me become a ger, and on condition that I only accept the written Torah. Gar boy. So Shammai berated him, vayitzi ben zifa, and sent him out disapprovingly. You can't convert when you have this attitude. The halacha is that if somebody wants to become a ger, but he rejects even one halacha of the Torah, he's unsuitable for geras. So certainly if you reject the whole Torah shebal peh, nothing doing. So he tried his luck with Hillel. Bolefnei Hillel, he approached Hillel, and he proposed to him the same thing. He says, you know what, I accept Torah shebechsav, but Torah shebal peh, I don't accept its authenticity. Says the Gemara, Hillel accepted him. Gaire, he converted him. Rashi explains that Hillel did not detect in his voice any antagonism. He wasn't opposed to the concept of Torah shebal peh. It was simply a matter of ignorance, and Hillel was confident in his ability to eventually relate to him, hold his hand, and guide him on the right path, and convince him about the truth and authenticity of Torah shebal peh. So he accepted him as a ger. In fact, says the Gemara, the first day, Amalei, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet. So Hillel began teaching him the Torah. This is an Aleph, this is a Beis, a Gimel, Dalet. L'machar, the next day, Apichlei, he switched things around. Instead of calling it an Aleph, he said it's a Taf. Instead of a Beis, he said it's a Shin. He switched things around. Amalei said, the ger told him, V'etmalei amr slihachi. Haven't you told me just the opposite yesterday? Amalei said, Hillel said, that's the point. Lav alai dedika samchas. Don't you see that you're relying on me? How did you know this is an Aleph, this is a Beis? Because you heard it from me, so you relied on me. So regarding Torah shebal peh, rely on me as well. When I tell you that was given by Hashem on Har Sinai. Because you see for yourself that you can't understand without an explanation. The reason why Torah Sheba'al Peh was given was in order to explain and expound upon the meaning of the words of Torah Shebachsav. They both go hand in hand. They're a pair. They're bundled together. You can't have one without the other. Indeed, the Ger accepted it, and he believed in the authenticity of not only Torah Shebachsav, but also Torah Sheba'al Peh. Says in another story, Shuv Maaseh ben Achri Echad, there was a guy Sheba'al Fnei Shammai, approached Shammai, Amalei Gaireni, I would like you to convert me. Al Manaz, on condition, teach me the whole Torah. When I stand, while I stand, on one foot. Meaning, give me a crash course in Torah. Teach me the one fundamental principle that is the foundation of Torah. Shammai didn't accept this. He pushed him away with the ruler in his hand, with the yardstick that they used for construction. He pushed him away. Says the Marsha, what was the hint here? What was the point of pushing him with the Amas Habinyan? Just like a foundation, just like a building requires a wide foundation. You can't build a building on a stilt, on one pole. It doesn't work. You need a wide foundation. So to the Torah. The Torah is a broad entity, and it can't be capsulized in one single fundamental point or concept. It doesn't work like that. It's too big, it's too broad. You can't just base the Torah on one short concept. So he rejected him. Balifnei Hillel, he approached Hillel, and he proposed him the same thing. Teach me the one fundamental principle of the Torah. What is the Torah based on? Gaire. So he accepted him, even though he was very particular in his gears. He had this precondition. I want the whole Torah on one foot. He accepted him. And indeed, he proceeded to give him this one principle, this one foundational principle that the Torah is based on. Amalei told him, let me capsulize it to you as follows. The Torah is based on Da'aloch Sani, whatever is hateful upon you, L'chavach L'saved. Don't do that to your friend. Zui Kol HaTorah Kula. This capsulizes the whole Torah. This sums it up. Ve'idach Purusha, everything else is merely a pirush, explanation of this principle. Ve'idach Purusha, Zil Gemara, go learn it, go expound. This is the basis, this is the site. Explains Rashi. Ve'haftarach Kamoicha is indeed the foundation of the Torah. Because Hashem is our friend, as it says in Mishlei, Re'acha b're'eh avicha al tazoiv. Zeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu, don't defy His word, adhere to His mitzvahs, to His Torah. Just as one doesn't want others to defy His words. Da'aloch sani, something which is hateful on you, don't do to Hashem. Listen and adhere to His Torah mitzvahs. I saw another pshat that the concept of Agudath Israel of Toronto is indeed the foundation of the concept behind the spiritual entity of Torah mitzvahs, which is to be magbir, to strengthen a person's spiritual side over his physical material side. The person is meant to strengthen his neshama through Torah mitzvahs, his ruchnistic side of him over his gashmi side. That is the foundation of the whole Torah, and that is manifested and indicated in the midst of Agudath Israel. When a person truly loves his fellow Jew, it must be that he's living a neshama life. He's experiencing his soul within, because that's the only way to connect to another yid. Otherwise, our bodies are totally separate entities. A person can't come to the point of a haftarach kamoicha, to love a fellow Jew like himself, if his life is focused, if the focal point of his days are his guf, his material side, which is totally separate than his friends. If he's focusing on his neshama, he lives in his neshama like a spiritual experience of Torah mitzvahs. Whose neshama is primary indeed, he can connect and love his fellow Jew, who's also part of him. We're all part of the same neshama. All our neshamas are connected. We're sons of Hashem, we're children of Hashem. So the neshama is the true connection between one yid and the other. So that indeed is the foundation, is the yesod, is the concept, the underlying principle, the foundation of Torah, which is to live a spiritual neshama life. So that's Kol Torah Kula. Everything else are merely details, are manifestations of this concept, of this principle. V'idach Purusha, Zilgmar. Says Gemara, yet a third story regarding a ger. Shuv, Maaseh ben Achri Echad. She'evry acher Beis HaMedrash, is passing behind the shul, behind the Beis Medrash, where the children were learning. V'shama kol sefer she'omer. He heard the Rebbe teaching the children. Ve'ela begadim asher yasu. These are the begadim that they should fashion the choshen ve'ephod. So these were the begadim used in the Beis Hamikdash. Amar. So the guy said, Halol lumi, who are these clothing being fashioned for? Amar lo, the Kohen Gadol. It's meant for the Kohen Gadol. Amar. So the guy said, he was impressed. I'd like to wear these royal clothing like a Kohen Gadol. Amar is anachir b'atzmai. So he said to himself, you know what? Eilech v'izgair. Let me convert. B'shvil she'yisumuni Kohen Gadol. On the condition that they appoint me to be a Kohen Gadol. That's why I'll become a Yid with this purpose in mind. So he approached Shammai and he conditioned his gerus on this. Amar le gaireni amanas shetisimeni Kohen Gadol. I'm willing to become a ger. Please convert me on condition that you will appoint me as a Kohen Gadol. Once again, Shammai used the amas habinyan, the yardstick, the ruler in his hand to push him away. Says the Marshal once again, Torah is too big of an entity to hinge on Kahuna Gedola. You must have a broader motivation to become a Yid and to follow the Torah, rather than just a simple, a single interest of becoming Kohen Gadol. Torah is much greater than that. That's not sufficient motivation to become a Yid. Balifnei Hillel, Girei. The same guy approached Hillel with this proposition, and he accepted him once again. Apparently, he was confident on his ability to go ahead and relate to him and speak his language, hold his hand, until he leads him on the right path. Amalei, indeed, so he accepted him, and he gave him the following instructions. So Hillel told him, Klum Amid, okay, you want to be a Kohen Gadol, fine. Klum Amidin, Melech, do they appoint a king? Ella, only one who is familiar with the ways of royalty. You can't just ascend to this position without being familiar with its with what it involves. Go learn the ways of royalty of being a king. So this is a mashal of the ways of royalty of a Kohen Gadol. You can't just ascend to this position without knowing all the what's involved. Halach Mekaras, he went ahead and he started learning the Chumash. Once he got to the pasuk, Vazara Karav Yumas. A stranger, a non-Kohen, who approaches the Avodah Beis Hamikdash, he's liable to death. Amarle, so the ger asked Hillel, Mikra Minemar, who is this pasuk referring to? Amarle, Afilu al David Melech Yisrael. Even David, Melech Yisrael, cannot do the Avodah Beis Hamikdash. If so, once he heard that, Nosa is a ger, Kavachayim Ba'atzmei. So the ger applied a Kavachayim to himself, and he said, Oma Yisrael, Shnikru Banim Al-Makam. If Klal Yisrael, who are born Jewish, who are so dear to Hashem, they're called Banim Lamokim. Out of love that Hashem loves to Klal Yisrael, Karlam B'nai B'chari Yisrael, he relates to Klal Yisrael as B'nai B'chari, my firstborn. So although they're held in such high regard, they're so dear to Hashem. Nevertheless, with regard to them, the pasuk says they can't just approach the Avodah Beis Hamikdash unless they're a Kohen. If so, ger hakal, just a simple ger like myself, who comes with his staff and his knapsack, who wasn't born a Jew, certainly I'm not suitable to be a Kohen Gadol. So he didn't take it personally. He understood that everything has the right time and place and person, and it's not for me to be a Kohen Gadol, and he accepted it. Continues the Gemara, Shammai. So he went back to Shammai, this ger, and he told him, Amar lei, Klum roy ani lives Kohen Gadol? Am I fitting to be a Kohen Gadol? I learned in the Torah says that a Zar, non-Kohen, is not suitable for that position. So you could have simply told me that it's not for me. You didn't have to reject me. Indeed, he returned back to Hillel, both in Hillel, Amar lei, Anvis on Hillel, the humble Hillel, the tolerant, the accepting Hillel. Brachas shall land on your head. You have brought me closer under the wings of the Shekhinah. It was because of you that I became a Yid. I'm grateful to you. Says Gemara, okay, so we have 3 stories of Gerim that became Gerim on account of Hillel's anova, Hillel's acceptance and his tolerance. Says Gemara, Liyamim, some days later, in his Davgur Shlosh Tal Makam Echad, so all 3 of them chanced upon each other, they encountered each other in one place. Amaru, so they compared stories, and they declared, the sternness, the unyieldingness of Shammai, Bikshol Tardeinim Noilam. was going to deprive us of the world of Ha'ilam Haza, Ha'ilam Haba. However, on V'sanusei Shel Hillel Kivonu Tachas Kanfei Shechina. Indeed, the Anov of Hillel brought us under the Kanfei Shechina. And indeed, this was Hillel's practice, as it says in Pirkei Avos. Hillel used to say that a person is meant to be Oyev Sholem, Oyev Esabriyos, Umekarvan LaTorah. So this was Hillel's approach. And the Gemara tells us one is meant to follow this approach to be an Anav, to be accepting and be tolerant like Hillel. So in summary, we learned about the Anava of Hillel. We first began with the story of this person who tried to provoke Hillel, to arouse his anger. He asked him the 3 questions about the round heads, the round eyes, and the flat feet. We learned about the 3 Gerim, that Hillel indeed was Mekarev Tachas Kanfei Shechina, the one that initially rejected the authenticity of Torah Sheba'al Peh, who was eventually brought into the fold by Hillel, who convinced him about the necessity and the truth of Torah Sheba'al Peh. We have the Ger who wanted the whole Torah al regel achas. He wanted to capsulize it in one foundational principle. Shammai rejected him. Hillel told him, whatever is hateful upon you, don't do to your friend. And finally we have the Ger who wanted to become a Kohen Gadol. He had his sights set very high, but eventually he learned that everything has the right place and time and person, and he's not suitable for that position. Everybody has their unique role in Yiddishkeit, in Torah, and is meant to appreciate his place and his position. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rish Lakish. Mai dichsiv, v'haya umunas itecha. How do we understand the following pasuk in Yeshaya? V'haya umunas itecha, choisen, yeshuos, chachmas, v'das. And the pasuk concludes, Yiras Hashem Yetzori. Says Rish Lakish, this is referring to each word that corresponds to another portion of Shisha Siddur Mishnah. The first word, emunas, is a Seder Zroim, because in Seder Zroim it speaks about planting, as Taisus explains in the name of the Yerushalmi. A person who plants, the farmer who takes this sack of edible grains of kernels of wheat, and he tosses it into the ground. He plants it. He's doing it on account due to his amun and Hashem. He takes this perfectly edible food and throws it into the ground and renders it unedible, because he's relying. He has full amun and Hashem that indeed He'll bring the rain to germinate the seeds and produce the crop. So amunas is referring to Seder Zroim. Itecha, different times, different occasions. Seder Moed discusses Yom Tovim. The next word in the pasuk is choisen. It's referring to Seder Nashim. Rashi says choisen is lashon Yerusha, inherit. A Yerush for someone who inherits. Some say this is a lashon of strength, because the Yerush, the Isha, the marriage, produces the Yerush, which is the continuity and strength of the person. Yeshua is a Seder Nezikim, saving. It saves a person from becoming liable. In Seder Nezikim, the Torah instructs a person, advises them how to refrain from damaging other people, give them the guidelines how to retain personal financial responsibility, which indeed saves them from liability. Chachmas, I say the kachim. Vadas, I say the taras. So wisdom is kachim, and understanding is taras, which appears to be a deeper form of learning than kachim. So this is the beginning of the pasuk. The pasuk concludes with the words Yiras Hashem Yetzorei. Says Rish Lakish, a person who delves into all the different sections of Torah, that's not sufficient. Yiras Hashem Yetzorei, that's the punchline. Yiras Hashem, fear of heaven, that is the Eitzer, that is the storehouse of all this knowledge. When a person develops the sense of Yiras Shammai, awe to Hashem, by doing so he ensures the maintenance, the endurance of his knowledge, because he transforms himself as a proper kli vessel that contains and maintains and preserves this knowledge. He absorbs the chachma within him, because his Yiras Shamayim transforms him, his material being, into a spiritual being, and allows him to properly absorb and internalize the chachma of Hashem. Amar Rava, when they take a person to the Bezdin Shamala, the heavenly court, they ask of him 6 questions. And this corresponds to the same pasuk that we just mentioned. First they ask him, Nasasa and Nasata b'emunah. Did you deal in business with emunah, with faith? Were you faithful in your transactions? Some say it means that were you honest? Some say it means with Amunah, even though you need to do the ishtalos, you need to conduct business. But did you truly believe that Hashem is the ultimate provider? So that's question number one. Number two, kavat itim l'Torah. Have you set aside set times for Torah? Next, asakta b'piri yirbi. Well, you Isaac, when you're involved in the mitzvah of puravu, having children. Say peacefully should. Did you look forward? Did you anticipate the geula? Did you look forward to a time of living in a higher spiritual plane? The time of Mashiach, the time of geula. Palpalta b'chachma. Did you delve into Hashem's wisdom? Hevanta davar mitach davar. Did you go even further? Did you learn one thing from the other? Did you derive one thing from the other? This is bina. So all 6 questions will be asked, and these correspond to those words in the pasuk. So the word emunas corresponds to nasasa ve'emunah. The word itecha is kavati l'Torah. Osakti p'ribya, that's the chayson referring to the marriage. Sepisal Yeshua, that's the word Yeshuas. Paltalta b'chachma, and the vanta davar mitach davar, that parallels chachmas vadas. Once again, the ending of the pasuk ba'afilu hachi. What's the main point that they're going to address in Bezin Shalmala? Yiras Hashem hiyotzarei. If Yiras Hashem was his oitzer, did he develop himself as a storehouse of Yiras Shamayim? And then he'll prevail in the Din Torah, in the heavenly court. Eloi, Eloi, but if not, not. So indeed, Yiras Shamayim, that forms the storehouse, that preserves the contents. So although he involved himself in all these lofty activities, however, the punchline is, did you make yourself a vessel, a storehouse for all this spirituality? Did you have your Shemayim? Says the Gemara, this concept of Yiras Shamayim being the storehouse is mashal, can be compared to a mashal, a metaphor, la'adam she'amil l'shluchai, one who sends his shliach, his emissary, tells him, Halali, go bring me up kur chitim l'aliyah, a large measure, a kur of chitim up to the upper chamber. Halach v'halalai, indeed he brought it up. Amalei, then he asked him, Iraftali behen kav chumtan? Did you mix into the grain a kav, a small measure of chumtan? This was the salty earth, which was meant to be mixed into the grain to serve as a preservative to prevent the infestation. Amalei lav, no, I didn't do it. Amalei mutav, imloi alisa, it would have been better if you would have left the grain down there, because without this chumtan, it won't endure. It will become infested with worms. So the point of the Yiras Shamayim is like this kav chumtan. It's this bit of preservative which preserves and maintains a person's spiritual content. Tanadei Bishmael, this actually has a halacha gratification. Ma'arav adam kav chutam b'kur shel tfuah. So one who sells this kur of tfuah, he can mix into the kur a kav, a small measure. Some say it's I believe it's 1 pot and 180 of a kur. So you're allowed to mix in a little bit of earth instead of the grain. And he doesn't need to be concerned about being dishonest, because the kav chointam in the kur shel tfuah is a necessity to preserve it, to prevent infestation. So it's very important for it to be there, and therefore it's not considered to be dishonest when he displaces some tfuah with this earth. Amar Rabba Barafun, Kol Adam sheyesh bo Torah, ve'ein bo Yiras Shamayim. So one who's full of Torah without Yiras Shamayim, he is doima legizbar shemashal maftechas apnimis, to an attendant who was given the keys for the inner chamber. However, they haven't given him the keys to the outer chamber. He has no access to the inner chamber. Bahai Ayel. With which doorway is he going to have access? How is he going to get in there? The same thing over here, says Rashi, Yiras Shamayim, a proper development of a sense of awe and fear, of trepidation of Hashem, that is necessary. That is a precondition for absorbing Torah, for approaching the learning of Torah. He's meant to have the proper perspective, fear of Hashem. He's meant to have transform himself into a spiritual entity, to relate to the Torah in its proper, to relate to it properly with the proper value and chashivas, to care for it, to look to adhere to it and fulfill it. And this, in fact, enables him to properly learn and absorb it and internalize it, and to maintain it within him. So without the Yiras Shamayim, he can't approach the Torah properly. He doesn't have access. He'll learn it, but it won't get internalized within him. All become part of him. Continues the Gemara. Machash Rav Yanai announced the following thing. Chaval, woe! Al delesle tarta, a person who doesn't have a courtyard, so he doesn't have where to go, but v'tara, a gateway, l'darta of it. He's already building a gateway without anywhere to go. So he has no end goal. So too, Rav Yanai is referring to the case where a person lacks Yiras Shamayim. He has Torah. He has the gateway, but he doesn't have where to take it to. He doesn't have where to go. He doesn't have a purpose. He doesn't have a final destination of Yiras Shamayim. Continues the Gemara, Omar Yehuda, Lo Barak Kadosh Baruch Hu Esaylomim. The only reason that Hashem created His world, Ella, Kadesh Yirum L'fanav, that they have fear for Him. Now Hashem doesn't need our fear. The point is, Hashem is giving us the opportunity to connect Him in the highest level through Yira, through being avatal, our self-importance, our gava, our feeling of pride, and totally connecting ourselves to Hashem through Yiras Shamayim. With that we gain a dvekis, a connection to Hashem. Rav Simon of Elazar says the Gemara story, they were sitting, Havayasvu, v'yichalev v'azar v'yakabach. So Rav Simon of Elazar was sitting, and in front of them was Chalev v'azar, was walking by Rav Yaakov Bracha. So one of these two, Rav Simon or Rav Elazar, we're not sure which one, he turned to his friend and he said, Neiku Mikamei, let's get up in his honor. On the honor of Rav Yaakov Bracha, because he's an important person. The Gvar Dochel Chatonu, he's a person who was afraid of Chet, of Averis. He's a Yiras Shamayim. Amalei Idach, so the other one responded, indeed, let's get up for him. For a different reason. Neiku Mikamei, let's get up. The Gvar Bar Uryanu, because he's a Talmud Chacham. Amalei, so the other one responded, Amina Lachano, the Gvar Dochel Chatonu. I praised him on account of his Yiras Shamayim. Amina Lachano, I told you, the Gvar Dochel Chatonu is a person who has fear of Chet. That's his praise. Va'amr and you responded, which was a much lower level of praise. Va'amr Sliyat, and you told me, Bar Uryanu, that is a Talmud Chacham. You're degrading his honor. That's a much lower level of shvach, of praise. Yiras Shamayim, that's a true honor. So said the Gemara, we're not sure which one said what. But let's conclude this time, let's conclude the Rabbi Lezer, who the Amar, the Gvar Dochel Chatonu. Rabbi Lezer was the one who praised him on account of Yiras Shamayim. He considered that to be a higher form of praise. How do we know? The only thing that Hashem has in His world, the only thing that's dear to Hashem, that's precious to Him, is Ela Yiras Shamayim Balvad. Shenema v'ati Yisrael, Ma Hashem Alekecha Shomimcha. What is Hashem asking from you? Because everything else is predestined. It's pre-planned. Everything's Bashkacha Pratis. The Gemara says, except for Yiras Shamayim. That's something which Hashem places in our hands. It's given to our Bechira, to our free will. So that's the only one thing that Hashem asks of us. Make the right decision. Do the right Bechira. Have Yiras Shamayim. V'ati Yisrael ma Hashem alekecha shol mimcha. What does Hashem ask of you? Ki im liras Hashem. Uksiv, and it says, a pasuk in Iyov, vayomer la'adam, hein Yiras Hashem yichachma. So Yiras Hashem is chachma. And shekein b'lashon Yevani, in Greek, koyin la'achas hein. The word hein means one. So as Rashi explains, now we understand the pasuk, hein, one. Yiras Hashem yichachma. That Yiras Hashem is the only, chacham is the highest form of wisdom. It's the closest and clearest perception that a person can have of Hashem. That is the true chacham, the true wisdom. So indeed, Rabbi Lezer extols the virtue of Yiras Shamayim. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that's really dear and precious. That's the only true chachma to stayim. Indeed, we conclude from here that Rabbi Lezer holds the quality of Yiras Shamayim in a higher regard than Torah. So he was the one who praised Rav Yaakov Bracha on account of Yiras Shamayim. So in summary, the Gemara began with a pasuk of a munasi techa choisin Yeshua is chachmas v'das Yiras Hashem Yitzori. The Gemara had one pshat that this pasuk corresponds to the 6 portions of Mishnayos, Zroyim, Moed, Noshim, Nezikim, Kachim, Taris. However, the Yiras Hashem, that is the storehouse. When a person has Yiras Shamayim, his chachma will be preserved within him, will be absorbed within him, and will endure. The Gemara told us another pshat of the pasuk that corresponds to the 6 questions that a person will face when he comes up to the heavenly court. Emunas, corresponds to Nosah Sov and Nosata B'Emunah. Did you conduct business with faith? Itecha. Is Kavata Itim LaTorah. Did you set aside time for Torah? Set times for Torah. Chaysen, referring to marriage. Did you involve yourself? Did you endeavor to fulfill Pirvia Ribya? Yeshuos, did you look forward to Geula? Chachmas and Das is Palpalta B'Chachma and Ivanta Davam Tachtava. However, the focal point of the din in Bez Shamal will be on account of his Yiras Shamayim. Although you have all this, you need Yiras Shamayim. That is crucial. That maintains and preserves and internalizes and absorbs everything within the person. Then we're proceeded to describe the great Maila of Yiras Shamayim. The Gemara said that Yiras Shamayim is the access point of Torah. It is the final destination of the Torah learning experience. And the Gemara concluded, Yiras Shamayim, that is the true Chachma. Continues the Gemara, Dorash Rabula. So Shlomo Melech Kehelah says, you know what? Altir Shahabi. Don't do lots of wickedness. Harbud Lirsha. Person shouldn't do a lot of wickedness. Ma'at Lirsha, but a little bit, yes. What does he mean to say? Altir Shaharbe. Says the Gemara, Ella, he's coming to teach us a profound lesson in life. And it is compared to the following mashal. Misha Achal Shum, one who ate garlic, which has a bad odor. And he's emitting a foul smell. What should he do on that account? Should he just give up and say, okay, too bad, I have bad odor, let me keep on eating the shum, so that his reach should emit further? No, stop right there, stop in your tracks. Just because you're failed once, don't declare defeat, don't surrender. Says Shlomo Melech, when a person is nichshel, a person does not vera, Shlomo Melech, who's the Chacham Kol Adam, who's the wisest man on earth, he understood all types of situations that we encounter. Yes, sometimes we fall, we falter. Catch yourself. Don't fall into depression, into an attitude of defeatism. Don't give up. Don't be despondent. Altir Shaharbi, stop right there. Whatever happened, happened. Go right back on the right track, and you'll take care of past. You'll do tshuva. Continues the Gemara. Dorash Rava Baravula. So we have another drush in the name of the same Ada Omer. Ma'adichsiv. This is a pasuk in Tehillim. Ki ein chartzubois lamoisam abari ulam. So it's explained as follows. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu leidayin l'rishoyim. It's not sufficient, not enough that the rishoyim she'enu charedim v'atzev miyam misa. They have no fear. They're not concerned, not sad about the day of death that is approaching. Ela shalibam bar lehem kuhulam. Their heart is as steady and they're so confident. Like the doorway to the ulam, the wide doorway into the ulam of the Beis Hamikdash, they're so confident in their ways, even though they know what's coming. So they're not afraid of the future. They don't pay attention to the fact that their life on this earth is temporary. They don't live with that. And their heart is so full of confidence in their way of life. So we darshan as follows. They know that they will eventually end up passing away. So that's the word darkam kesel, darkam al-misa. They know about it. However, they have fat. They're overly involved in materialistic pursuits. They have the chayl of the fat on their kidneys, which is getting in the way of them pursuing truth. Shema toimar shichahimen. So you'll say that this fat, this materialism is causing them to forget. They forget the truth. So although deep down they knew the truth, but now they forgot it because of the materialism that's covering it over. So we can deal with them. We can consider them to be shaygim, like they're really negligent. They're not doing b'mezit. Talmud loima, the pasuk says no, it's not so. V'achreyem b'fiyam yirtzusela, with their own mouth, they enunciate, they express, they verbalize what the future holds for them. So they know what's coming. They didn't forget. Nevertheless, they're caught in their way of life. Their taivas, their materialism is carrying them in the other direction. Even though they know in their mind it's a mere intellectual knowledge, but it doesn't affect, it doesn't permeate their hearts. So although we know, we're intellectually aware of the truth, we're meant to have it penetrate and permeate our hearts and live our lives accordingly. Continues the Gemara. The Mishnah told us that one who extinguishes a flame So is it a malacha? Is he chayiv? It depends when. If it was done for pikuach nefesh, certainly it's mutter. However, the Mishnah told us that if it's not done for pikuach nefesh purposes, then we have a machlekes between Rav Yehuda and Rav Shimon. Rav Yehuda says that he is chayav when he extinguishes a flame. It's a malacha. So if he has any purpose for doing it, for to allow the chayla, the ill person, to sleep, or he's trying to preserve, to spare the lamp that's getting destroyed, the oil that's getting consumed, etc., that's a malacha and is chayav. Rav Shimon holds, no, because this is a malacha she'ein tzarich legufa. This act of kibui, of extinguishing the lamp, it's not needed for its own sake. It's not serving a constructive purpose. And the malachos of Shabbos are learned from the Mishkan. It needs to be a malachas machsheves. Just like the malachas in the Mishkan were there to serve, to create a higher design. They came to fashion, to create, to build. They were performing a constructive purpose. That is the malacha, true malacha of Shabbos. But if one does a malacha not for its own sake, merely to address an issue, to solve a problem, that is not a malacha that is chayav on Shabbos. So I have a machlekes Rav Yehuda and Rav Shimon regarding a malacha she'ein tzarich leguf. Another classic example is carrying out a mace into Rosh Hashanah. So that's the malacha of Eitzah. Rav Yehuda says he's chayav, even though the point of carrying it is not because he needs the mace outside. He's merely trying to clear his home. It's a malacha she'ein tzarich legufa. He doesn't need it for its own sake. It's not there for its own benefit. It's merely coming to serve a side benefit, to indirectly give him hana. That's a malacha according to Rav Yehuda. According to Rav Shimon, he's potter, because it's a malacha that's not needed for its own sake. He doesn't need the item in Rosh Hashanah. The typical malacha of carrying is when he needs something in Rosh Hashanah. However, here he doesn't need it outside. He's doing it simply to clear the home of the mace. So this malacha of carrying out is not needed for its own sake. It's not accomplishing a constructive goal. It's not achieving a higher design. It's merely coming to address a problem. So it's giving him a side benefit. It's a means for something else, and that is not a malacha to be chayiv on Shabbos. Says the Gemara. Okay, Rav Yossi concluded the Mishnah by saying, "Oh, it depends. If he's putting out the flame for other reasons, he's potter. If he's putting it out to spare the wick, then he's chayiv." Says the Gemara. Let's analyze Rav Yossi. Rav Yossi commands severely. Whose sheet is he following in this machlekes of malacha she'ein tzarich legufa? According to Rabbi Yehuda, putting out a flame, kibui, is a full-fledged malacha, even though he's doing it for a side reason, to spare the oil, to spare the lamp, to have the sick person sleep. So it's a indirect hana. Nevertheless, kibui is considered to be a full-fledged malacha according to Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, Rav Yossi is following Rabbi Yehuda. Commands freely. Ikar Rav Yehuda freely is following Rabbi Yehuda's shita. If so, afilu bahanach lami l'chayiv. So why only in this case, says Rav Yossi, if he's trying to spare the wick, and that's why he's being machabed the ner, only in that case is chayiv, it's a malacha. Why not in the other cases, when he's deriving some sort of other benefit? He's doing it so the chayla should sleep, so that he spares the fuel in the lamp. That is also a malacha, according to Rav Yehuda. So why, according to Rav Yossi, is not chayiv? V'ikar Rav Shimon. So if you propose that Rav Yossi is following shittas Rav Shimon, who holds that kibui is not a malacha, since he has no direct benefit from putting out the lamp. If so, in this case as well, when he's trying to spare the wick, that's why he's being machaber. It's a malacha she'ein tzarich legufa. He doesn't need the flame to go out. He's merely trying to spare the wick from being burnt down. That's a malacha she'ein tzarich legufa. Because according to Rav Shimon, the only time kibui is a malacha is if he needs the actual kibui, the extinguishing of the flame is serving a constructive purpose. For instance, when he lights the brand new raw wick, which wasn't yet charred, he lights it and extinguishes the flame in order to enable this wick to be used in the future, because a charred wick can hold and maintain a flame properly. So in that case, and exclusively in that case, according to Rav Shimon, kibui is a malacha, because that is considered to be malacha tzarich legufa. But in this case, when he's merely putting out the psila to spare, to preserve the psila from getting burnt down, that kibui is not needed for itself. He's doing it for a side reason. He's deriving a side benefit. That's a malacha she'ein tzarich legufa. He's potter. Says the Gemara, Ama'ula la'olam k'Rav Israel. Rav Yossi is following Rav Yehuda, who holds that kibui is a malacha. The Kasab Rav Yossi, however, Rav Yossi holds Soiser al manas livnis bim koim have a soiser. Now we know there are some malachis within the Lamed Tes malachis which appear to be destructive malachis, like soiser, demolishing a building, dismantling a building. Now, why is that a malacha? He's merely destroying. We know Rashi explains that mekalkel, one who merely destroys something, he's not liable. That's not a malacha. It's only an issa d'rabbanan. So why does the Mishnah tell us that one who is soiser, dismantles a building, he has to perform the malacha? The answer is because there's a condition involved. The soiser here is speaking about that he's doing for the purpose of rebuilding. He has a small home, for instance. He wants to demolish it to rebuild it. He's going to take the material and rebuild with it. He's going to rebuild a new home on this location. So the point of the soiser here is to rebuild. In that case, since the soiser, the dismantling, is serving as a hachana, a preparation for binyan, so the soiser gains a new identity. The nature of this act is not destruction. The nature is considered as a constructive act. It's part of the building process. That's why soiser is considered a malacha, because it is al manas livnos, for the purpose of rebuilding. So Rabbi Yossi holds that there's another component necessary. So number one, he needs to have the kavanah, the intention to rebuild. Number two, says Rabbi Yossi, it is only considered to be a positive malacha if he intends on rebuilding where? In this same location. He is destroying in order to rebuild right here. In that case, the stira, the dismantling, relates directly to the rebuilding. And the stira attains a status of a constructive nature. It's considered to be a constructive malacha, a positive act, and it's a malacha. Says the Gemara, because only if it is with the intention to rebuild in this place. However, if he intends on rebuilding elsewhere, this soiser is not considered to be a constructive act. It's not a malacha on Shabbos. Here too, says Ula, regarding kibui, putting out the flame. If he has the explicit intention of reusing this psila, he's putting out the flame in order to spare this psila. In this case, the kibui indeed, although it's a makalkal, he's putting out the flame, he's destroying it. He's being makalkal. But since he intends on rekindling, relighting the flame right here with this wick, the maisa of kibui assumes a positive status. It's considered to be a maisa of positive nature, and it's considered to be a melacha. So that's Pshan Rav Yossi. Rav Yossi holds that merely to be machabe and there, that's not considered to be a constructive act. He's just putting out a flame, it's destroying it. The only time he's chayiv is if he intends on rekindling this same psila. That's what Rav Yossi says. If he's trying to spare the wick, he's putting out the flame in order to preserve the wick and rekindle it right here in this with this object, with this chayv, with this wick. That is considered to be a malacha, because the kibui is a preparation, is a achana for the act of hadlacha, which will take place with this very item. Amali Rabbah, Michli, let's take a look. All malachas are derived from the Mishkan. V'hasam, over there, where do we find the malacha of stira, dismantling, when they took apart the Mishkan to relocate elsewhere? The soiser was al-manas libnei shloibim koimayu. They went and dismantled the Mishkan, al-manas, for the purpose, with the intent of rebuilding it when they come to the new location. So how can you say that it's a precondition that soiser needs to be al-manas libnei shloibim koimayu? In the Mishkan, it wasn't so. Amar lei, so Ula told him, there too, it had the status, is considered to be soiser al-manas libnei shloibim koimayu. Why? Shani Yasam, there it's different. Given the chsiv al pi Hashem yachnu, they traveled on the word of Hashem. They didn't choose their encampment, their locations. Hashem dictated their route. If so, it is akin, it is equated, is considered to be because regardless of their geographic location, they were still in the same place. What does this mean? Because the Mishkan wasn't dependent on the physical location. It was the resting place of the Shechina. It was the Makam HaShechina. So wherever it was, whether it was in this location or that location, it was still the same Makam. It was the Makam, it was a spiritual entity. It was a spiritual place. And therefore, certainly when they dismantled it and relocated and rebuilt it, it was considered as though the stira and the binyan took place in the same place, on the same entity, in the same Makam. There's a beautiful word from Chaim Shmulevitz. He says, for a mashal, that A person sees a child holding on to his mother's hand. He asks the child, "Where are you?" So the child is walking through the streets of New York. He says to the child, "Where are you?" The child says, "I'm with my mother." He meets the same child a week later in LA. He says, "Where are you now?" He says, "I'm with my mother." So the child just knows about his mother. That's his makom, that's his place. The Mishkan was the makom of Hashem, wherever it was. It wasn't dependent on its physical, geographical location. Therefore, this Soiser was indeed Amnas Limnois Bim Koimai. That's the first approach of Rav Yossi, that he follows Rav Yehuda, that the malacha she'ena tzricha guf is chayev, kibui is chayev. However, he demands that it take place in the same location with the same object, with the same wick, that will be rekindled later. Rav Yochanan Amar, I have a different approach from Rav Yossi. Lo yom Rav Shimon Sfirli. He subscribes to Shizar of Shimon that kibui is not a malacha because it's not tzarech lagufa. It doesn't serve a constructive purpose. If so, Maishna Psila, why in the case when he's trying to spare the wick, does Rav Yossi say it's chayev when he puts out the flame? We're speaking about a unique case. K'da Amar Rav Nuna. V'tema, some say, we're speaking about the Psila shetzarech lahava vaskinan. Speaking about a raw wick which needed to be charred. So he kindled the flame and he puts it out to enable it to be used in the future. In this case, I feel Rav Shimon Moida. Even Rav Shimon agrees that is the true bona fide malacha. They call mesaken maneh because it's serving a constructive purpose. He's not really putting out a flame. He's not just doing a malacha that is not needed for its own sake. Yes, it is needed because it was a raw wick, a fresh wick which wasn't yet charred. And he kindled it, and he's putting out the flame in order to enable it to be used in the future. He's charring the psila. So in this case, the kibui is a direct hana. It's a direct malacha. He's mesaken maneh. He's creating a vessel. He's fixing up. He's enabling this item for future use. So according to Rav Shimon, this case is unique. Although ordinarily kibui is not a malacha, because although he derives some sort of benefit, the chayla can sleep. He's saving the fuel. That is called malacha she'ena tzricha gufa because he doesn't need the particular maisa, the specific extinguishing of the flame. He doesn't need it for its own sake. However, in this case, that he's fashioning the psila by kindling and extinguishing the flame. That is a malacha tzricha gufa. And according to Rav Shimon is chayiv, and Rav Yossi is following Rav Shimon. Amar Rav Adei Kanami. This is very implied in the wording of the Mishnah as well. Because Rav Yossi says, when he spares the wick, he's chayiv b'pnei she'oisa pecham. Diktani she'oisa pecham. He's making it into a charcoal. Because it was already a charred psila, and it can be rekindled later. That's not sufficient according to Rav Shimon. The fact that it can be rekindled later, that doesn't make it the kibui into malacha. It's only because he right now is fashioning it into a charcoal. He's making this into a vessel. This malacha is assuming constructive, positive nature. And therefore he's chayiv. Shema Mino, indeed, it's pretty much implied from the Mishnah. It's pretty obvious. And it's very obvious that is the pshat of Rav Yossi. So in summary, what is considered to be a malacha? All agree that a malacha needs to be an act that is constructive in nature. If he is mekalkal, simply destroying for the sake of destroying, all agree that's not a malacha on Shabbos. What if he puts out a flame, he's mechaber, with the intention to rekindle and relight? According to Rabbi Yehuda, that is a malacha. According to Rav Shimon, that is not. Because although he derives some sort of indirect benefit from putting out this flame, but that is not a malacha she'atzricha l'gufa. He doesn't need it for its own sake. He's not achieving some higher design by putting out the flame, and therefore he's pater. What about Rav Yossi, who tells us in the Mishnah that the only time he's chayiv if he puts out the flame in order to preserve, to spare the wick? Who is he following? We have two approaches. Ula says he's following the shita of Rabbi Yehuda, that kibui is a malacha. However, Rabbi Yossi holds it needs to be mechaba al manas lahadik bim koimai. It needs to have the intention of rekindling the same item. So only if he intends on explicitly rekindling the psila is considered to be a malacha of kibui. Rabbi Yochanan says that Rabbi Yossi is following shitas of Shimon, that kibui itself is not considered to be a malacha generally. However, this is a specific, unique case where he's fashioning the psila, he's charring the wick. And in that case, even Rav Shimon agrees that kibui is a malacha because it's needed for its own sake. It's achieving a very direct goal and purpose here by fashioning and enabling this psila to be used in the future.